All right, guys, Shotty T here with another video. We are almost about to upgrade another protein form to get some more resistance because we got some big plans for tonight. And of course, we are in versus. Favorite day of the week. I'm pretty much tapped out on what I can score today. Like I said, this week's been definitely more of a cakewalk compared to last week. I mean, we had this type of total last week, and the other opponent outscored us by like 50 million. So definitely that last opponent caused us to step up our efforts this week. So we should be good moving forward. So definitely a great day to improve your roster because today, this week, and obviously we just took over a territory. So we got a territory now for the village, and our goal is to take at least one of these strongholds tonight because I do need some more troops. This Crimson Plague, along with this good old fun Vanguard, has taken down a lot of my troops. And thank goodness we have training day. Actually, the arms race for training starts in 30 minutes. So I'm going to take advantage of that, even though I already have all three of my upper boxes already open. So, but still, and I should be in first place before the day is out. So right now, I'll be on track to get other rewards for being arms race, get a free puzzle piece and some much needed resources. And my gold is just very poor right now. But anyway, this is a very anticipated video. Just had to kind of do a little overview before going into it. So a lot of people have been asking who are the best champs in the game. So if you guys recall, and just to kind of recap, in my previous videos, I talked about which champs you need to focus on. So obviously, the blue champs just don't want to do anything with them. Their only purpose in this game at this point is just satisfying day 4 requirements when it comes to um, rare hero shards. Again, 2,000 points per shard because you do occasionally gain those. So that's the only time. That's it. You're not doing anything. You're not putting any gear on them. They're butt naked with nothing on them. So you're not doing anything with them. You're not giving them any skill points. Like you're literally not doing anything to these guys. You're just leaving them. I think early on I inadvertently gave him some points because he looked cool when I first got the game. He had a mask on. My favorite Mortal Kombat character was Cabal, and he kind of looks like Cabal. So that's the reason why I gave him skill medals early on, but never more. Actually, I could probably put a few more skill medal points on some other champ, but I'll show that as we go through. So, and I talked about, so let's talk about the legendary. Sorry, let's talk about the epic class because I realize some of you guys are free to play, and half of these champs you can't even get unless you buy them. Just being frank. Kimberly, Marshall, sorry, Kimberly, Murphy, Williams, well, yeah, Marshall too, Tesla, DVA, Carly, and now Schuyler. Those champs are, and Swift. Those champs you can get for free in the ticket store, in the tavern, as well as the elite recruiting store. So as you guys recall, and those points do count for today. I did test that. So the tickets, actually I got 30 more. Let's open up these real quick. I got 2 Schuyler's, and I got mostly the OG champs like Murphy in these. That's a pretty good batch there. Not a bad batch. And Mason is pretty common. And you got some proteins, some mutants. So you got some new stuff in these crystals. And there's Williams there. So if you slowly build your way up to getting Williams, every 50 you get a guaranteed every 50 you get a guaranteed legendary champ. And of course, you gain these tickets only by participating in this zombie event, this invasion. Every time you every time you defeat a new first kill, you get some of these tickets. You get two. I think it scales with prizes, but every time you kill a new zombie level, you get tickets. So these prior tickets are survivor tickets for repeat kills. But if you go to a new level, you get these heroes return. So those are those tickets. So there are 9 champs that you can get out of these. But the rest of them, if you want them, you have to buy them. Now, you can get them for $4.99 in the daily sale, just to get just the bare bone minimum version of them. But if you want to keep adding more shards, after you get their version, then you can use generic shards on them, or you can just keep buying them for $4.99 every day. But I know that adds up, so don't recommend that. But outside of that, let's say you got maybe 5 of them because you got unlucky in the store, and maybe you don't have enough stars on them, because stars will matter. I will say, as a general disclaimer, legendary champs that are 3 stars are on the same playing field, if not higher, than purple champs that are 5 stars. But a purple champ that has 3 or more stars is going to be better than a legendary champ with no stars or even 1 star. So obviously, until you get your star level up on your legendary champs, you probably want to still rely on your epic champs. But moving forward, you want to make sure your resource focus are on the gold champs, because that was kind of what I talked about in the previous video, is that you want to focus on them. But if you're just limited in rosters, out of the epic champs, just rating them, the best attacker, obviously now with the new mission stuff that's going to start next week, it's going to be Mason. So he has the synergies. He has the zombie kill ability, and obviously synergize is great with your tank teams that are legendary. So you get that added bonus there. And then your next best attacker is probably going to be Richard. I've had some challenges facing this guy in the campaign, especially when you get to that aircraft level 4. That always tends to be the gate. Actually, speaking of campaign, I do need to do that again today. There's so much stuff on the game, you forgot to do things. So, but yeah, so I would definitely rank those 2 as your top tank class attackers. And remember, you got 3 classes of champs. You got your tanks, you got your missile artillery, and you have your aircraft. So obviously, so we can kind of do it this way. So if you look at the purple class, your top attackers are Richard and Mason. And then as far as your best tanks, you're gonna have Scarlet's gonna be your best tank for now, because I haven't followed the Discord for the game, that the fan has voted to uh, have the ability to have Scarlet become a ultra rare champ. And I'm pretty sure you'll have to get her to 5 stars to do that. So moving forward, all those purple shards I'm gonna be getting, I'm gonna be focusing them on her. And I guess I'm gonna have to start getting these again, because I pretty much stopped getting these in the store. But I guess I'm gonna have to start getting those whenever I have the points, because as you can see, I only got 9,000 alliance points, because I still like to buy some of this other stuff first and foremost before if I have whatever's left over. And it's also these speed ups, which I need pretty much every week. So especially the training ones, those are always the first to go, because I'm always low on troops. So yeah, so eventually she will be probably better than Scarlet. But right now, Scarlet is the gal, and so you want to go there. And then, of course, honorable mention would be with Farhad. I see people that got high ranked Farhads because he had pretty similar skills to Kimberly when it comes to the missiles. So that's a pretty good thing. Only thing is, obviously, he's not a common champ, because a lot of time there are side events where it's easier to get shards of certain champs like Marshall, um, like her. It's easy. There are side missions to get her easily. Obviously, you see how easy it is to get her, and of course with the upgraded store, it's easy to get a lot of versions of him. So what? So the only way you can really get a lot of versions of him is getting lucky in the ticket store, really, and or just manually using shards. So that's the reason why it makes it hard to develop. But if you got a whole lot of purple pieces and you've developed everybody you can, then you can focus on Farhad. And obviously, Monica has some utility when it comes to um, causing some give you some more coins resources. So that's pretty cool. But I don't really use her. But again, I've just tried to put it in perspective for the people that are free to play. Your best attackers, I've pretty much given you from that class. From the missile class, it's very limited. You only got two attackers. You got Venom and you have Blast. So Venom is going to be your best attacker out of those two. So I can just tell you that he has pretty good abilities here. Prioritizing targeting two front row units, poisoning them, and deal energy damage. And of course, it scales the more stars you get. So he's pretty cool. And then she's the only tank. Elsa is the only tank. That's my babe. I wish she had more ability, but she's cute. She's very cute. But she has this freeze ability, which is pretty cool. Um, Actually, where is it? I remember seeing it somewhere. Yeah, launching the ice bomb, slowing enemies in range and dealing energy damage. So yeah, yeah, that's kind of little Miss Sub Zero there, Frost or whatever you call it. And then the aircraft variety, again, it's very lacking. I mean, he's a decent defender on the front line. And then, of course, you got Maxwell. This is another champ that's easy to get a lot of versions of because you have those Maxwell's Comrades events that happen every couple of weeks or so with those dog rallies. So that's why you can probably, this will be by far your best attacker. But overall, if you want to put them all together, I would say the top 5 attackers from the Epic Clash variety would be Marshall, Maxwell, Richard, Venom, and Farhad. And then the best defenders, I would put Scarlet for now. Technically, Elsa, but because it's just harder to get many versions of her, you have to put Violet because Violet has a good attacking skill. And then, of course, this guy, Cage. So those are your rankings. Now let's get to the heavyweights. So it's fair to say that pretty much every legendary champ is better than any purple champ. But again, it's based off star level. Now, some of these are less impressive than others. So and this is just my opinion based off what I've experienced so far because some of these champs I just got to my team. So I really don't have a fair grade on them just yet. But in the S tier, which I would put, I guess, God tier variety, I have 5, maybe 6 champs, maybe 7, maybe even 8 champs. But so it really doesn't matter. And pretty much all of them have 5 stars on my team. So there's no spoiler here. Kimberly, and she just does insane damage when it comes to these missiles. I mean, if you can get her to 2 stars, you can gain 4 extra because she already fires 8 rockets when it comes to her skill attack. And then when you get to 2 stars, there are 4 additional rockets. So if you get her to 2 stars, she's already pretty good, better than pretty much any epic attacker. But if you get her to 4 stars, and I remember when I first got her to 4 stars, I saw my team damage. It made a big difference. Those extra 4 rockets, and keep in mind when you get to 3 stars, the damage increases to 70%, the additional damage. And then when you get to 5 stars, it just takes to another level. So it's just beyond insane. And now she has this exclusive weapon, which again is just unfair. I don't know why she gets the special treatment. Maybe because I guess she's the mascot of the game, so she's just gonna get the special treatment to get exclusive weapons. So yeah, and people are gonna buy it like me. So yeah, I kind of caved into that one. But yeah, S tier attacker. All right, and then the next S tier attacker you have Stedman. I mean, it's like I remember when I was doing these exploration quests on the outside. Um, this guy was pretty annoying every time I get out here, and I can actually still do these, by the way. But he's not here. But when I used to see this guy in the back row, Stedman, every time he would stifle me each time because those balls they just do so much damage when they get thrown out there. And I said when he first got on the game, I said I gotta get him. Matter of fact, let's use these skill points just enough. 164,000 less. We're at 25 million. How many points we're gonna get to? 25.15. Where is that gonna take us to? We get just enough points to get him to level 26. All right, and though as you can see, that stuff is pretty expensive to upgrade. Yeah, that took us. It didn't go. That didn't move the needle too much. But anyway, this skill right here, you get. He shoots 3 electric balls at 3 random enemies. But when you get to same to Kimberly, when you get the 2 stars, you get 1 extra ball. So again, you get him to 2 stars. He's already gonna be better than most, if not all, epic champs. And then 3 stars and up, he just goes to another level, more damage, another ball when you get to 4, and then of course high damage when you get to 5 star. All right, and then so yeah, you gotta that guy, and unfortunately he can only be bought, so you can't. And I guess this purpose is why the game don't have him in crystals just yet. But if you want him, you have to buy him. But you can get him for 4.99, and then just add shards with your generics. The third S tier attacker is Tesla. Now you don't really see him on a lot of main teams because unfortunately he is a missile attacker, and missile attackers have a class disadvantage against tanks, and a lot of the best champs in the game are tanks, so his damage is kind of diminished, but he packs a punch against all champs, even if he is class disadvantage, because this lightning attack is just sick. What it does, it attacks all 3 back row units. Like it's inevitable damage. You can't hide from his special attack. Like some like Kimberly and Stedman, it can go to random champs, but now Stedman has 5 balls, so pretty much everybody gets hit. But Kimberly, sometimes her missiles might miss a champ or two. You have to hope that her missiles don't get your best attacker, but sometimes if they do. But this guy is it's equal. Everybody gets the same damage in the back row, and it packs a punch. So yeah, this just sick abilities with him. So by far he's the best missile attacker. That's bar none. All right, so you just without question. Okay, and then the other S tier attacker, even though she's not 5 star on my team yet, is DVA. So she does quite a bit of area damage. Um, it just unleashes a whole bunch of just missiles all at one time, and it's not a certain. It doesn't scale as far as the amount of. It's just one big spread. It's just the different star level increases the damage output. So I imagine we get to 5 stars, that damage is going to be insane. It's just like a big boom nuclear damage. And on that same page, from what I've read, some of this stuff I'm going off the guides because I don't have a rating for her. She's incomplete for me, but it's kind of similar to DVA, where she has a just spread damage, and I felt it when I played against her on the campaign missions. Like sometimes I just see damage come out of nowhere against my squads, and I said, "Who is this person who I thought was Kimberly, but it's actually Fiona?" So she's another. I believe she's another considered another ST attacker. But if you have DVA already ranked up, you probably don't have to focus on her. The main difference, obviously, is that Fiona is a missile attacker and DVA is a aircraft attacker. So that's really, if you're building your teams for synergy purposes, then maybe you can focus on one or the other. All right. All right. So another, I would say S tier attacker in my opinion is Morrison. Now he's probably the weakest as far as damage output, but he has great utility. So what he does, he has a minigun that strike random enemies 10 times, deal physical damage equal to a percentage of his attack, and each attack reduces the defense of the enemy by 5% up to 25% for the same target. So that's 10 times, and then with more star levels, you get a higher count of those missiles. So you can have up to 20 of them and reducing defense by 9 seconds. So it makes up for the lack of attack by decreasing the defense. So not only does that, he's great to have on your team because not only does it helps his attack go slightly higher by having defense of the other opponent go down some, but also makes it to where the rest of your teammates can also benefit from that decreased defense of the enemy. So he's great to have. So he's a must have champ. And again, the champ that you can only buy. All right. So the rest of the attackers, and Siler, I guess a lot of people like her. I would probably put her in the A tier, like just a slight tier below. Because of the RNG part, really, I'm not the biggest fan of the RNG because she has a stun, 20% chance to stun a target, and it doesn't scale based off the star level, unfortunately. So it prioritizes one back row unit. Obviously, more stars, then you'll have three back row units that each have a 20% chance to stun. So I would imagine she would be more beneficial if you got her to 4 stars. So that way, you'll you'll probably have a chance to stun one of them. If each of them have a 20% chance, there's still a chance you don't stun anyone, but at least there's a greater chance if you're going after 3 targets in the back row that one of them will get stunned. And sometimes that can make a difference between winning and losing a fight. So she's a pain to go against defensively because sometimes she'll stun your guys at the wrong time when you think you're about to kill and they're just stunned for 2 seconds. So and that can be annoying. So she's definitely one of the more annoying defenders to go against, along with Tesla and Stedman. So those are all your attackers when it comes to the legendary. And I forgot about this guy. He was probably the worst of them. He is kind of annoying defense wise because what he does, he attacks the unit with the lowest HP remaining. Like, so if you got someone in your back row that just got nuked by Tesla, for example, and they're down to pistol health, this guy's gonna finish them off. He's not gonna, because normally most people with their basic attack, they attack your front row units, and then they just go in order for who's like directly in front of them. But this guy, he just goes after whoever's your lowest remaining champ. So he's kind of like a mercenary, but his overall damage is not the greatest. But yeah, but that it has some use. But again, we're talking about legendary class. Again, legendary are gonna be better than your epics. And he's 3 stars, so he's considered better than any of the other epic. So I don't want to talk too bad about it and say, oh, I'm just gonna use Venom instead of Swift. No, you definitely still want to use Swift. All right, and he can be gained in the ticket store. All right, so those are your attackers. All right, and I kind of skipped the tiers. Another S tier that I'm guessing that will probably be S tier is going to be Lucius. So Lucius, he's been buffed. So now he helps your defense units much more, and also helps himself. So damage reduction, which is pretty cool, and also his skill abilities is that it boosts energy damage reduction for your teammates And that's great because aircraft heroes have a class disadvantage against missiles, which includes Tesla, and Tesla has a burst of energy damage. So even though he has a class disadvantage, he can make the damage not hurt as much. And of course, the higher you go, the more damage reduction that you can get, and then of course the effectiveness, duration, and sometimes those seconds matter. So his skill set to get the 5 stars probably not as important to do so, but I guess sometimes that little bit can matter, especially if you got the material to rank him up. But I probably wouldn't prioritize getting him the 5 stars before some of the others that I mentioned. But he's a pretty good defender. He's the best aircraft defender in the game. It's only two of them. So, but yeah. And then you have your last two S tier. You got three of them. You got Murphy. So Murphy and Williams are kind of like 1A and 1B when it comes to tanks. They're like, as far as being the best tanks in the game. I both have them with legendary gears at level 40, and I've actually upgraded them right before that first bullet. I just need some blueprints in order to go that threshold. But yeah, they just provide so much defense for your units. They're very tanky. So, and what it does, it just allows your back row units just to go ham because they provide the utmost protection. Like Williams, basically it boosts the defense by the front two units for its base ability for 0 stars. But once you get to 3 stars, that effect applies to the entire squad. You'll see like a big shield that go around your team. And then as far as Murphy is concerned, he pretty much does the same thing. He reduces all damage taken from the front row units. So again, it helps make your front row tankier. So that way it allows your back row to go crazy. So if you put both of these together, 1A and 1B, you just got an impenetrable front. And then on top of that, boost physical damage reduction of front row units as its base ability. And then once you get him to 4 stars, that damage reduction applies to the whole team. So the physical damage reduction. So again, this just makes it very tanky. So you got to remember, it's good to have offense, but defense also matters. So that's why you want to put these guys in the front row. I haven't really gone over ideal formations because I see a lot of people that put attackers in their front row and defenders in the back row, but it should be defenders in the front row and attackers in the back row. So one guy that I haven't mentioned yet in the S tier is Marshall. So he's kind of like the all-around guy. His attack is better than tanks, better than defenders, but it's worse than the attacking folks. But he's a support character, and this right here is a game changer if you got him on your team. So it's kind of like Williams from a defensive standpoint, being a Swiss Army knife for defense units. He's like a Swiss Army for your attacker. So after casting a skill, increase the attack of all team members. It's just like from the beginning, he increases all. Like there's no just front row, just back row. It's all. Okay, and it's for 6 seconds, and there's a range that percentage goes by. I don't know what level it starts at, but it caps at 15%. Well, it might start at 15%, and then it just goes up. And then, of course, the more stars you get, the more effectiveness, the more duration, the more crit rate. It just adds a little Swiss Army abilities. 10% crit rate. Sometimes crit rate matters for RNG purposes in a matchup. Attack boost. I mean, 3% attack boost. Imagine a 3% attack boost on Kimberly, for example, or on Stedman. So, yeah, and then if you get him to 5 star, that's another 3% attack boost. So a 6% attack boost on Kimberly and Stedman. And not to mention, like I said, he's not a bad attacker himself. Like he can pack a little bit of a punch. So even if he's the last guy left, he has enough health pool to withstand. His health pool is more than Kimberly and Stedman, so yeah, but his attack is lower than them. So he's like, again, he's kind of like a hybrid type guy. And of course, this ability, uh, it reduces the cooldown in between these, because the cooldown is 12 seconds for this stuff, but this kind of reduces that skill cooldown. So if you can get him to 5 stars, so as a result, no surprise, my top unit that I have, and this is not just me. A lot of people have this as their top squad. Have Murphy and Marshall on the front row. Um, uh, Not Marshall. Uh, Williams, Murphy and Williams on the front row, and then on the back row, Marshall, Stedman, and Kimberly. These are interchangeable that I have in the back row. It depends on if I'm facing another opponent, how they got their alignment set up. So sometimes I'll switch it around. But that's generally my top squad. So those are your top tier champs. As far as the others goes, Carly, like I said, she's the other aircraft attacker. She's the one. That's the only one that's free to get in the ticket store. And of course, this guy you have to buy. So right now there are two tank defenders in the game, missile defenders in the game. You have Adam, who I believe is better than McGregor from what I understand. Like I said, I haven't used him much, but he has this counterattack type of deal, which is pretty interesting. Like, you hit me, I hit harder. So that seems pretty cool to have. So I am focusing on him more than I am on McGregor, because McGregor, he has this taunt thing, but sometimes that can go against you in some scenarios. So yeah, so that but so really the missile class is still overall lacking, as you can see. But Tesla kind of makes up for it. So I guess Tesla is so OP, they had to make the rest of them not so great. Like I said, Fiona is good, but the rest of them are like, they're they're probably the weakest overall class. So that's why this is my C squad for the most part. So the aircraft, I would rank as the second highest combination, because you got Lucius, as I mentioned. You got DVA as a great attacker. You got this guy's a great support character and attacker. And you got Shiloh with the stun, but it's RNG. But the best class is the tank class. And the cool thing about it, 4 out of these 5 legendary champs, you don't have to buy. Thanks to now this upgraded store, you can get Williams in the Heroes Return store, the ticket store. Stedman is the only guy you have to buy. So really, if you just go by this list here, your top attacking squad, if you don't have Stedman, you would just put these 2 guys in the front row, and then on your back row, you would just put Kimberly, Marshall, and Tesla. Boom, you're done. Or DVA, depending on the scenario, depending on the matchup. Because either one of those, especially if you got one at a higher star level than the other, I imagine more people probably got DVA at a higher star level than Tesla, because I had to focus on Tesla to put him at a high star level, like putting manual shards in him, because he's not as common to get as DVA. So, but yeah, I think I covered everyone. So really, I just look at it in tiers, because class advantage at the end of the day, or disadvantage, does matter. But tank is the best class of the game. So if you want to do a counter-attacking team, you want to go aircraft, because paper beats rock. So that's why this aircraft unit that you see at the 5-star level is a pretty good squad if you put them together. They can hold their own against a tank team. But Kimberly, I don't know. Kimberly and Stedman, like I said, they make it real hard. They'll nuke anyone. So, and like I said, Tesla. But again, if you don't have all these champs, remember I talked about Marshall and Richard and Venom as being like your attackers, and of course the aircraft, you have your Maxwell, and of course you have your Scarlet and Violet as your top defenders to put on the front row, as well as Elsa. So that's it. And blue, just there should not be a team with blue. There are enough purple champs in the game. There are 12 of those where there should not be a team that has a blue champ, unless you're just trying to be a meme. That's really, if you're just trying to have a meme squad to dig, put out there on dig duty. Yeah, they can do that. I guess that's how they have their place in the game. Just to be, if you just don't want to lose a lot of troops in a rally, just put them on a team. All right. Anyway, guys, I know that was a long video. It might have taken too much memory on my phone to even post this on the channel. I might have to actually upload this from my computer, but we're gonna get this uploaded to the channel. Anyway, guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I will talk to you later.